Hi there. This is the third part of the first lesson of this class. In this part, we'll learn about the responsibilities, authorities, and the relationships of major key personnel that work on in a design bid build project. And we learned in the previous videos that in traditional organization or design bid build of a construction project, you have the owner, architect, and the contractor working together to deliver this project. But we're here showing each one of these blocks is a whole company itself, is a whole organization. So we want to zoom in and see how each one of these organizations are accomplishing their duties in the project through their key personnel. So we'll point into the typical organizational structure within each one of these and try to define the typical authorities or responsibilities of each, and also define the relationships that you'll see between them. But before we jump into that, let's see some rule of thumb here. So when you examine a participant in a project, participant here is a company, a team player in a project, the contractor, the owner, the sub. You can look into this company through a lens that can see three levels within that company, or three levels, organizational levels within the company. First is the management level. So those people who work in the office, who kind of handle the strategy and the business of the businesses, overall business. The next level is the project management level. So those who are managing a project or multiple projects, and the key they have the expertise of managing and delivering this project. And then the next level is that operations management level. Those who are really into the forefront of doing the work and managing and directly managing the work being done. So you can say there's a business level, there is the project management level, and there is the operations level. So when you consider this rule of thumb, how typically a company can be organized or thought about, let's now look at the owner organization. So you have the company management, the business management, there's the project management, and there's the operations management. So the first level is the capital project officer. There should be someone in the owner organization who would be responsible to the owner stakeholders or stockholders or those who own the company, responsible in front of them for the construction projects, the capital projects done. So they can be the CEO or someone of the VPs or the vice presidents who would have that responsibility assigned. So, for example, in the university, there is the university operations or facility department. So beside they're fixing the plumbing and electrical issues in buildings, they're also responsible for constructing new facilities and managing the construction projects on campus. Whoever manages this group, the facilities department or the operations unit within the university, is formally involved in the starting or kicking off the project, but not really day-to-day operation of the project. So they show up at the beginning of the project to approve it, to set the policies, and to set the major requirements, and they go away, maybe check on a quarterly basis, but then show up at the end to cut the ribbon, open the project. And they also authorize major changes. So minor changes below a specific limit, then they're not that involved in that. There's the next layer is the financial officer, who are handling the financials of the construction projects and approving issuing of checks or payments to contractors and architects and engineers. There's an owner rep who is now involved in the the more frequent decisions about the project. Other names for this is the owner rep or resident engineer or owner project manager or owner PM, and they are the main prime contact of the owner on the site for this project. And they should be knowledgeable about generally how to manage or how construction projects are managed. And they can be an in-house personnel or they can be hired. So the owner, if they don't have a construction management staff or facility management staff, they can hire people to do this job. And then there is the owner inspector, different name for it is clerk of works. So they report to the project representative on the construction progress. So it's not typical to have an owner inspector. In big projects, very critical projects, the owner might need to have eyes and ears on the site. The owner project rep doesn't have to be on the site, but if there is a need, then you need to hire someone to do that. And then lastly, the testing agencies. Some owners have actually testing capabilities and labs, like Department of Transportation's, they might have their own soil tests and their own, testing labs and staff. And they will do the tests for the owner to do the quality assurance and sometimes quality control. We'll learn more about quality assurance and control later in the course. But not all owners have that, so typically the owners will transfer the testing to the contractors to do in return for expense to be included in the project cost. So that's basically the simple organization of the owner organization, that different people involved in a construction project. Now moving to the architect. Again, looking at from the lens that there is 3 levels: business management, project management, operations management. The first one here is the principal in charge. So it's that individual, the big shot architect who established the company maybe many years ago, and they are the principal architect, the principal in charge, the ultimate decision maker for that company. Different names, they can be CEO, president, not involved in day-to-day operation. They are the face of the company or the architectural company. They maintain high level of communication, and they're not involved in many decisions of the project. They're mainly here to represent the company. And then there is the project manager, who is in charge now of from the start to the end of the design or the design and the administration of the project for the owner. Remember, this is the design bid build, the traditional way. So this is how an architect will be involved in the design, and also representing the owner on a construction project and doing contract administration, like we'll see. So the project manager manages the staff of the architecture company here. They manages the architects and the consultants. And they are in direct contact with the contractor project manager. The project architect is that technical person, that technical architect who actually developed the plans and documentation for the project. And they coordinate, they are the technical expert of that project who are bringing the ideas of the project onto a set of plans. And they're however, they're not that much involved and the contract administration aspect during the construction. So responding to RFIs or questions, they might be, but typically this is assigned to a contract administrator. Subconsultants for structural, electrical, mechanical designs and systems, and they help in reviewing the shop drawings and help to make sure that the design is constructed per the design specs. Specialty coordinators, so in big projects that require a lot of coordination on the site for specialty systems within the building, we need to have these coordinators on the side, and they are hired by the sub-consultants. And then finally, the contract administrator, who will be the architect person who is responsible for managing the contract required processes and operations and approvals and communication with the team. So they respond to RFIs, they check the progress and approve the payments and respond to change orders and kind of they manage the communication during the construction from the architect side. And they require knowledge of the design, the contract, drawings, and specs. So that's the architect organization. And now the contractor organization, you can see here there's a huge structure here because you're dealing with a lot of complexities during construction, so you need a lot of people involved. So the company management level or the business management level, so you have the officer in charge, the CEO, VP, or whoever is authorized to start a project and sign the contract for the project, but they're not involved in day-to-day operation for the project. Then there's the estimation and scheduling groups and people. They can be kind of combined in pre-con department within the company or the contractor organization to help in preparing for the project through estimates and schedules. And then there's the project manager, really the man of the show here, managing the project, managing the time and cost and budget and safety. And they provide this overall leadership for the project during the construction. In large projects, scheduling and estimating is done by different groups, and these are handed to the project manager when the bid is approved or they win the bid. In small projects or small companies, the scheduling estimating is done by the construction team, so the project manager or the project engineer. The project engineer, you can say it's the assistant of the project manager. So even like in the career path, you start as a field engineer, then a project engineer, then a project manager. So they help the project manager in doing the management tasks and communication with the project participants. Superintendent, in my opinion, this is from the textbook of the course, but they should be in the same level as the project manager. They're helping and working toe-to-toe, shoulder-to-shoulder with the project manager to deliver and manage that project. Superintendent did not get training to manage the project and budget and schedules. They're more into like hands-on coordination, so they don't have the patience to deal with all these numbers and budgets and schedules and communication and processes and all of that. So, but they're very skilled, very knowledgeable construction people. That are really key assets for any contractor to have competent superintendents. So they coordinate between the subs and between the forces within the GC company itself, and they kind of like the maestro, you can say, of the site of the construction project. They coordinate everything on the site. And they coordinate with the project manager to manage. So the project manager manages, the project processes, but the superintendent manages the site processes, the overall coordination on the site. They communicate with the architect contract administrator. So if there's a change order, they initiated the request to change or propose a change, and the contract administrator will respond to that. They can be working superintendent, meaning that they actually do the work, like instead of only supervising it. Field engineers, like I said, their first step, and so when fresh graduate engineers, they will start as a field engineer. They will be wearing boots, dirty boots, jeans, and most of the time on the site, not in the trailer, providing supervision to the work, helping the superintendent. And reporting also to the project engineer, feeding in site data and records, and review the shop drawings and have more interaction with in the operation side, not the project management side, and also involved a lot in quality control. Subcontractors will interact with the superintendent. They are coordinated by the superintendent, and they also have their own organization. So they also kind of have their own project management level, business management level personnel. But we're talking here within the GC. They're mainly dealing here with the operations management and interface with the superintendent. The superintendent is held by foremen. So if the GC have self-performed capabilities, so a GC will have like ability to build timber structure or concrete structures. They have their own carpenters. They have to have their own cement finishers and equipment operators. Then for every one of these trades, there is a foreman that supervises a specific crew. And this foreman will supervise the crew and manage the personnel within the crew. So they're kind of the captain of the team of each one of these crews. And then within the crew, you have craft people. So you have the journeyman, that experienced trained craftsman, and there's apprentices that are learning from the journeyman, and there are helpers who are not here for training, or mainly making a living, right? So that's it. You have the company management, people mainly in the office, or their career now is in the office. The project management, they are in the office until the project starts, and then they move to the site. And then operation management, they're always ready to move to the site and do the work, and wear the boots and do the actual fun work here. So now, how will these people talk to each other, communicate to each other? You can't have a mesh of communication, otherwise it will be chaotic. So there expected level of communication within or across the organizations here. So you can have, for example, a subconsultant directly communicating with the officer in charge of the contractor. So you can have that one, because it doesn't make sense. If a subconsultant have a communication information to communicate to or to share, typically they will go up, so they will follow the chain of command until the project manager or the architect, and then that project manager or architect will flow that information across the organization borders to contractor side or the owner side. Sometimes, so that's following the direct communication. It's formal way of communicating. So to document transfer of information, you have to go vertical and then horizontal. Sometimes you have informal communication, which kind of picking the phone and answering a question right away. So that will have kind of clarifying questions on the spot, but still, to have a formal response, you have to go vertically in the communication chain, and then until we reach the nearest level for horizontal cross-boundary communication, you have that formal communication done. So just with the bottom line here, the purpose of this part of this lesson is that whenever you work in a construction project, you need to know your place. Where are you within the company you're working in? So if you're working on the architect side, where are you in that organization? And how you're communicating within that organization and across the boundary of this organization with other organizations or participants in this project. So this is the bottom line. I'm not saying that this is the only way of organizing a project team and the only way of communication between them, but this is kind of a typical or a common way in the industries that people have seen, especially in the US. But you will have variations from a company to a company, from a project to a project. But the bottom line is, know your place. Where are you in that organization, and what formal and informal communications you can make. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in other videos. Take care.